Welcome back to Hawaii Real, everybody. I'm your host, Ioke Ehu, and I have with me one of those famous people behind the scenes, Dustin Caravalho.
What's up, everybody?
Makeup and hair artist extraordinaire.
A magician.
A magician. You've done like some super famous people here in Hawaii. But you're also saying that you run one of the pageants here.
Yes.
Or the Miss Hawaii pageant.
Yeah, I'm a preliminary director for the Miss Hawaii America organization.
How's that going with the pandemic and everything?
It's been rough. The girls have just been trying to keep busy and just kind of maintain their platforms throughout the year without really having that moral support of that physical contact with the people that they normally would be doing. Many of them would go into, what would you say that, like the old folks' homes, or they would go into shelters to feed them and things of that nature. So they haven't been able to do that because of the pandemic. So they're finding alternative ways to stay busy and still be impactful for the community.
It's like the whole community service kind of thing just kind of dropped off.
Yeah. And our Miss Hawaii had to add another year to her reign. So she was just thinking,
happy about that?
Yeah. I mean, she's here in Hawaii and she gets to hold on to that title another year. I don't think many people had that opportunity. So
are you guys planning for 2021 to go back into service?
2021, everyone's going to resume back into service, and the girls will be able to compete on stage next year, 2021.
Yay! Yeah. Get them back in there.
It's going to be exciting. I mean, I told everybody, look at it this way. You have another year to prepare yourself to be your best you. Yeah.
So who's the most famous person you've done hair or makeup for?
You know, honestly, people ask me that, and I always say that everyone to me is important, you know.
Ooh, good answer.
And I feel that every person brings a different vibe to the table, and having to work with different races, different people, different backgrounds, it's really helped me to grow and to understand what I do as an artist and why people, you know, are so involved in wanting to do hair and makeup when they do things and how they present themselves. So I have to say every person that I touch is important to me.
That's really interesting. You said that. Does coming from Hawaii and dealing with a vast majority of or vastly different ethnicities of people, does that give you an advantage and make you better than, say, like your mainland counterparts who only deal with, you know, white people or black people or Latino people?
Well, I was thinking about that one day, that living here in Hawaii and doing what we do, we have that cultural diversity, and we're able to really get our hands into every different race, you know. So when we do these things, we have the experience of working with people that have different textured hair, different skin tones, you know. So we see it all here, and so it makes us more diverse in what we do. Not necessarily better than our counterparts outside of the states that do this. I think it's more so that we have that advantage of being able to take what we learned here and possibly help them, you know, learn what we've got to learn working with different backgrounds. Yeah,
I only bring that up because like the HBD sketch artists were like really, really good nationwide. Or you know, they would go to these nationwide conferences and stuff like that and meet with other sketch artists from other places across the United States. And the guys from Hawaii would consistently be better just because they're constantly dealing with trying to draw different ethnicities and such like that. Whereas their mainland counterparts aren't. They're mainly dealing with, like, if you have a sketch artist that works in Detroit, he's probably doing just black people. You know, it's a majority black people in that area. So it's one of those things that, you know, it brought like a whole diversity thing to their profession. So
yeah, we definitely have an advantage here working with different races and cultures, that we understand people's differences and that we're able to keep them to who they are, but also put that little touch of who we are into that.
So you're taking like a Hawaiian Islands type of approach to it?
Yeah. Every time I work with a pageant girl and it's outside of the States, you know, I always tell them, let's bring a little bit of a flair of who we are into our work so that people can still identify you as a girl coming out of Hawaii, you know.
What kind of things would that be necessarily?
Possibly adding a flower in their hair, you know, just so that people can identify who they are. And a lot of people thought, you know, that was outdated at one point. Hawaii doesn't have to be recognized as the girl with the flower in her hair all the time, but I think it adds a special touch, especially if it's a flower that either represents who they are or where they're from in the States. It allows them to, identify them in a different sense, in a different way that people can connect to them easily. It's a conversation piece. I feel that if a girl has that in their hair, it makes them say like, oh, what is that? Or why are you wearing that? So it becomes a great conversation for them to start up with.
Yeah, it's like there's their meaning behind that specific flower that was chosen, the color and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of goes hand in hand with everything, yeah.
Mm-hmm. You were saying you have like a very diverse background. You were a military brat.
Yeah.
Do a lot of people know that about you?
Honestly, I don't think so. A lot of people are easily mistaken that I'm a local boy here from Hawaii. Although my parents are originally from, the islands, and they're from the Big Island, that everyone just assumes. So it's funny because when I do gigs and I have to travel somewhere, they'll give me the area where I'm supposed to go, and I'm like, I don't know where that is. And they're like, aren't you a local boy from here? And I'm like, honestly, I am a local boy. I've lived here, I think, a long time, enough to say that I should know where I'm going. But growing up in the States, I really didn't know, a lot of the places. And I'm still to this very day getting to know where a lot of places are. So it's interesting because a lot of people easily mistaken that. But it's funny that when I'm in the States, people think that I'm Mexican or I'm probably from there, So it's depending on where I'm from. And I've gone to Samoa, and people think that I'm Samoan when I'm there. They try to talk to me in their native tongue, and I'm like, I don't know what you guys are saying. So it's I think the environment in which I am, they probably identify me. So I maybe I'm a chameleon, I can kind of conform to the different spots. Yeah.
Unless you're like you said you were in North Dakota for a little bit.
Yeah.
Are there Mexicans up there?
There is, yeah. I think they're everywhere.
There for work, yeah. They kind of spread out. Yeah, because I was moved around the country a lot and did 5 years in Las Vegas. Sad, Las Vegas choke Mexican ethnicity people. Yeah, it's good to see. Do you speak Spanish?
No hablo en español. That's the only Spanish I know.
Soy americano.
Yeah, I'm not very. I don't have any other languages that I can speak. Although I've learned like what they call retail Japanese, working in Waikiki and things like that. But I'm not fluent in any language other than English.
Well, what's your most useless talent?
Wow. What is my most useless talent? Honestly, I don't know. I would say I don't say I can sing, but I try to. So I think that's the most useless because I would probably scare the crowd away. Yeah.
Singing.
I have a lot of vocal friends that are, artists that are very talented, and I don't try to mess with that. No. I'll leave it to them. Yeah. Give me them hair and makeup. I'll leave them the singing part. Yeah.
No, but the hair and makeup though, when did you start that, and how did you get involved in that? What was your motivation, like growing up? Like, did you want to do that? Honestly,
I thought I was going to be a chef. I always was someone that was interested in the arts. So I felt that, I was one of those kids that would take a little bowl of rice, pack it, dump it on a plate, try to dress it up with ketchup, make it look like a volcano. And my dad would be like, we just want to eat. Why are you doing that? And then I would take it to I would try to draw things and replicate pictures that I seen and drawing. And one day I told myself, I was like, oh, if I can replicate this picture through drawing this, maybe I could replicate that on someone's face or through someone's hair by looking at images and, taking that and replicating it. So a cousin of mine got married and I was like, hey, let me give this a shot. Did it. And then I realized, I'm going to go into the beauty industry. I think.
So when you say give it a shot, you're like, they're getting married and you just like, hey, I'll do your makeup. I'll do your hair. Yeah.
They trusted me with that.
For a wedding.
Yeah. For their wedding.
How old were you at the time?
I was 19.
Oh, yeah. So yeah.
But in high school, I always had I would, try and I would do my friend them's hair and I'd be like, oh, let's go get this from the store. And we've had some disasters. So to all of those friends of mine that were my guinea pigs or their parents that were my guinea pigs, thank you, because they really helped. Yeah.
Hey, it's not a failure; it's a learning experience. Right?
Yeah, yeah. My friends, one of my friends' moms, she laughs and she's like, "I'm gonna bring you a garden hose and frame it because that's how she remembers me starting. I used to rinse her with a garden hose outside when I was in high school, and I would color her hair for her. I'd be like, how are we gonna rinse this out? We don't have a shampoo bowl, and she would be like, we have a garden hose. So I would like use the hose and rinse her hair out. So she told me she sees where I'm at now, and she's like, I'm gonna put a garden hose in a frame to remind you of me being your very first client. Yeah.
See,
I come a long ways.
In the hockey world, we'd call you a hoser.
Hoser.
Yeah. It's like an insult in the hockey world. Comes from way back when they have guys in the outdoor rink and everything up north in Canada and stuff like that. They play on the rink, and you're charring up the ice, tearing it up. And at the end of the play or at the end of the game, whoever loses the game got to get the hose and hose down the rink and make it all nice and smooth again so it can freeze over again. So they're the hosers.
Yeah, I'm not a good ice skater either. I tried that. Ice Palace is not for me, so I wouldn't do hockey either.
Useless talent?
Yeah, that's useless talent.
I'm a terrible ice skater.
Yeah, terrible.
I am waiting for Ice Palace to open up. Hurry up.
Oh, they're not open yet?
No. No. In fact, they were redoing their ice. They tore up all the ice, and you could look in the windows and see from the Jamba Juice side, because you can see inside. You can see all the pipes and stuff, so they're resurfacing the ice.
I think they need to get that open because people need physical activity. They need to get back.
They do.
Into getting shape.
They do. They do. Definitely do.
Yeah.
What's your biggest life accomplishment?
I would say my biggest accomplishment in life is being where I am today. I think it's been a tough journey. Being in this industry, it's a dog eats dog world. It's very competitive, and I think just knowing that I'm still standing and still doing what I love doing is probably my biggest accomplishment. Just knowing that I'm still surviving in this industry and that I'm still being able to do what I love the most and what I'm most passionate about. So that has allowed me to really define who I am. And so I feel like that's my greatest accomplishment, just still being able to do what I love doing.
And you just love doing makeup and hair and making, I guess, what is the satisfaction that you get out of doing that? Is it seeing the result or seeing like the person's face or their reactions or?
Well, when, one of my very first experiences in this industry, I had a young woman that was going through cancer treatment, and she came in for a haircut, and she had no family here. Her husband just so happened was deployed somewhere, and she came in to get a haircut because she was going through her radiation, and she wanted a slow process, and she felt that it was best for her to just kind of gradually go through it and remove some of her hair, knowing that eventually she was not going to have much left. So that was my aha moment in what I was doing, when I realized that we as beauty industry professionals don't realize the lives that we touch daily when we meet these people. Many people are transitioning in their life through something, and that's why they're in our seat. Some people think that, they're just in there to get their hair done or to look good. But people come in to feel better after a family member passes or to prepare themselves for a funeral. They have things coming up, celebrations or things that they have to go through in life, and for monumental moments and graduation and things like that. So we're a big step in their life to make them feel good before they get out there and have to do something. So with that young lady, as I went through the process and she told me that the reason why she was there, because first she said, I just want to cut it all off. And I was like, well, why would you want to do that? And I didn't know the background as to why. And she explained that she's going to be going through her radiation and that she may be getting a lot of hair loss, and she felt that it was best if she went ahead and just removed her hair now. And as I spoke to her, and she told me that was, like I said earlier, that was my aha moment, why I do what I do, because I was there for that moment of that person having to go through that. And I felt it was in my power and to kind of guide her through that moment and help her. She didn't have no one here, so I had to kind of be that person that was through her in that moment. And as she told me she was the only one here and whatnot, we stayed connected. I sent her flowers up to the hospital and whatnot during that time, and we still stay connected to this day. But it reminds me why I do what I do, because you never know who's going to be in your chair or what they're going through, and you always have to just keep an open mind and understand. I've even had people message me that their child is, going through a moment in their life where they want to transition who they are as a person, and they don't feel comfortable going to just anyone, and that they want to. I had a young mom reach out to me that the daughter said that she wanted to be a boy, and that she didn't feel comfortable going into any salon, and that if we were going to do a male haircut on her, that she wanted to feel most comfortable being there in a place that was going to accept who she is. So there's a whole nother side to the industry that you really just don't see on the outside. We just think that it's so superficial at time, but there's moments where it defines who we are in this industry.
With your hair and makeup, that's not just locally, right? It's gotten you to travel all over the country, all over the world even?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes, definitely. I've been as far out as Samoa and New Zealand doing this, and what I love, I think like one of my best moments of traveling doing what I love is working with Auli'i as she was Moana for Disney, and going out to Samoa where she was able to give back to their culture there, and being a part of that and seeing that not only from the hair and makeup side, but being on that journey with her and seeing what she did and Disney did itself for the people there. It was super awesome. So I enjoyed that moment, getting to travel, working with her, and having that experience outside of the hair and makeup, and just being there and experience the Samoan culture at the same time.
What kind of things were Disney doing out there?
So they went and visited the Boys and Girls Club. They also did some things at the university there. They premiered the movie in the theater there in Samoa, and they did a whole cultural welcoming for her and the crew at Disney. So we all got to experience that and be a part of that whole event. And we were there for a week and a half. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I've got to travel and do these things and be not only on the outside of doing the hair and makeup, but being a judge for a pageant, coming from the beauty industry and being able to travel in that sense. Also, I went out to Washington last year to be a judge at a pageant there. So that was awesome.
Washington State, DC?
Washington, DC.
DC, nice.
Washington State, sorry. I always
still nice.
Yeah, still nice. Still
nice. Was it Seattle? Were they having the riots yet?
No, no riots there. It was Seattle though, and I got to go and experience like that Pike's Marketplace and do all of that stuff there. So that was cool.
Yeah, Seattle's nice. I went up there and visited one time and went to the UW and saw the campus and stuff like that. It's really nice. There's a lot of Hawaii people up there.
Yeah, a lot of Hawaii people there.
Is that why the pageant was up there?
Well, there is that area there where the pageant was necessary. It was a Pacific pageant, so it was for anyone within that Pacific region of like in the Pacific, but they had the pageant out there. Yeah. So
did you ever make it north to Canada?
No, I never been to Canada yet, but that's a place for me to go. I definitely want to go there. My dad and my grandfather has gone to Canada, but I haven't been.
Yeah, we went to Vancouver a couple times, and so in Vancouver they have a team called the Canucks, and what I didn't realize until I went there and visited was that they derived the name Canucks from, it's supposed to mean like a logger or a lumberjack kind of person up there, but the people who were lumberjacks back in the day when they came up with the term were from Hawaii. So
interesting.
And so Canucks was actually Kanakas. Yeah, so they're taking Kanaka and they just cut off the A at the end and call them Canucks. So the word Canucks is actually Hawaiian. Yeah, Hawaiian. It's interesting.
Interesting, yeah. Interesting.
Useless facts. Right in here.
That's funny.
Speaking of useless facts, someone was on Family Feud.
Yeah. That was a great experience, having the opportunity to represent our family, the little town that my family's from in Kohala, the states, representing Hawaii on that national platform. That was super awesome. Steve Harvey was great. Great guy. The whole team there, the Tyler Perry Studios where it was held at in Atlanta, Georgia. That was super awesome. They had for this pandemic, they did a great job in keeping everybody safe and well entertained during that time we were there for that week.
Did you guys' episode already air?
No, our episode didn't. We're looking forward to it airing shortly, possibly between now and January.
Okay, so we'll have to keep an eye out for that.
Keep an eye on that. Yeah.
Oh, so we can't like have any spoilers about stupid spoilers. Answers.
Yeah. It was a fun moment though. What you don't realize is that when you're on that stage, you know everything when you're at home, right? You're watching the show and you're like yelling back at the TV. You're like, how did you not know that answer? But when you get up on there and you're on that stage, the music is going, Steve Harvey's in your face, and you realize you're like, oh my gosh, I'm on this TV show. And your mind slips. You do have a slipping moment and you're like, oh my gosh. But awesome experience overall. I think that, during this time of this pandemic and having that opportunity to be with our family, although we had to travel away from home, it was great. I think nobody really realizes that the word feud can bring families together, or it can actually be a positive thing. So
do you think they run Family Feud that way so that they get people to say like crazy answers and they put pressure on people because it's funnier?
Yeah, honestly, it's really weird because it was a great experience. I don't think so. I think it's just when you're up there, it's funny because you just don't know what's gonna come out of someone's mouth. It's just like, okay.
I love watching those clips on like YouTube and stuff like that.
I was just like, I hope we don't make those YouTube segments where the people mess up. That I was crossing my fingers for that. I was like, please let's not be on that episode. Yeah. But we don't know. We don't know what's gonna happen.
Name one thing you'd find in a bedroom. Hot dog.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Hot dog.
Yeah. It was funny because the answers that some people said, you're like, what? But then you get up there yourself and you yell out something and you're thinking, they must be thinking the same thing about me. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it.
How did you guys get on that show?
It was an audition process that we had to go through. It was a last minute on my part.
I mean, did they announce it here in Hawaii or?
Yeah, so they actually auditioned here in Hawaii at the convention center.
Oh, okay.
It was so I seen it. A client of one of our stylists had mentioned, that their family auditioned for Family Feud, and I was like, hey, I want to do that. And so I went in, found out the information, and submitted an audition video. Contacted us. We did a live audition at the convention center, and after that, we were then informed that we would be traveling out to Atlanta, Georgia.
Ooh.
So it was super. It was an interesting process, but we got there. Yeah.
Represent.
And it's fun because we got to meet a lot of different families from across the states, and like I said, during a time like this where there's so much going on in this world, we came from different backgrounds, different races, different religions, different beliefs, and we were all able to be under one roof together and not have a problem, So I think the world needs to tune into things like that and see that, you can come from different places, different backgrounds, and have different views, different answers, and you still can come together in a time where this world is just so crazy and this whole thing, and still be able to find humor and a good sense of who we are and build relationships with people.
So the relationships that you're building with your clients and stuff like that, do you find that it's it helps you out with having like a different point of view for different things and different topics like that because you're dealing with all different types of people?
Yes, definitely. Because you never know what the conversation may be when you're getting these people ready and what they bring up. And so I always tell everybody, you have to keep an open mind because not every person in your chair is gonna believe what you believe or understand what you understand, and you're not going to understand what they understand. So we try to keep it, in a sense where the conversation never gets political, or the conversation never, gets anybody in a sense where they have to defend themselves for who they are or what they believe in. So we try to always keep it positive. But I know that when those moments do come up, and the relationships we're building with our clients, it's important for the long run because these people become family. They're trusting you, with a lot on their special day, or just to kind of get their hair done. It's a trust thing. You have to trust someone. It's an investment to be able to go out there, get your hair done, get your makeup done, do your lashes. It becomes an investment. So when you're investing, you have to trust somebody. And when you're trusting somebody, you being the person that they're trying to trust, you have to be able to exemplify that to them, that you can be trusted. So you always just want to keep it positive.
I imagine because you hear about people maybe on social media and stuff like that, they have like their bubble, their little bubble of people that they discuss things with or bounce ideas off with or get information from, and that never really changes that much. So that kind of molds their opinion right there. But it seems like you have like a huge bubble.
Yeah. Yeah. But I although I have a huge bubble, I try to keep what's in that bubble very, very solidified and condensed, because I feel like sometimes less is more, you know? Yeah. Especially in this industry, less is more. Less is more. And yeah, I can speak to that sense. Less is more. Even in the makeup, you know, we always tell everybody we tell the client less is more. Yeah.
Oh, when you're talking about like adding makeup and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, because putting on makeup to look like they're not wearing makeup kind of deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Do you have a life philosophy?
I always tell myself life is a journey, and take the road less traveled, the road less traveled. And to that, I mean, you know, everything you experience is going to be difficult, but if you always take the other route and make it the best that you can, you know, you may find yourself back at the start, but as long as you get through that and get to the end at some point, you know, and do your best and be your best, then that journey is going to be well sought out.
So you're talking about like not taking the easy road necessarily.
Yeah, because I mean, nothing's easy in life. You know, you're always going to have that bumps and turns and everything that you have to go through. And sometimes the road less traveled, you know, where you kind of have to take a different route sometimes and experience it on your own without, because I mean, a lot of people in this day and age, they want to be very opinionated. And we often find ourselves trying to get advice from other people versus just doing what your heart desires or trusting in your own intuition and just going for it. You know, we always want to ring our moms or ring our best friends and be like, hey, what do you think? Or should we do that? Versus sometimes just going with what we believe is going to work best. And if it doesn't work best, being able to start back up again and trying a different way so that you can get to the end result. So
when you say like working with what you believe and stuff like that, are you referring to like following your gut feelings at all?
Yeah. I truly believe that you're going to find yourself in times where you maybe not know what to do, but that your gut always will guide you. And I find myself in that place sometimes where I'm just like, that gut feeling, I need to go with it, you know? And I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I'm like, that gut feeling, I want to push it aside and just be like, you know what? I'm going to do this no matter what that gut feeling is telling me. So I think you kind of find yourself when not to do it or when to do it. And if you don't, just run with it. That's what I say.
Yeah, because I think it's like a Native Hawaiian thing that the decision making came from like your stomach, your not necessarily your brain.
Yes. So that's why I always say follow your gut and go with it, and your heart will lead you to the right place. Yeah.
Deep words.
Deep words.
At first, I was like, "Is that from Disney?" No, no, those are good words, man.
Yeah.
Any aspiring makeup artists and everything out there? Do you have advice to give to them or anything? Any trials and tribulations that you've run into that you could, share so that somebody else could avoid that, or should they even avoid that, or should they run headlong into something like that?
Like I said, this industry it's tough. It's so saturated in a sense that nowadays with social media, it's become a thing where anybody and everybody is a makeup artist. People that are very passionate about what they do, they want to get involved and they want to do it more. And I feel that every person needs a believer. And I had that believer that believed in me, that allowed me to grow in this industry and where I'm at today. And I feel that even if you don't have that belief system, to just still go in and do your best. I think being the best at what you can do and who you are is going to show in your work. I mean, I think that so many people try to compete with one another in this industry. And I think that versus just being the best you, defining what makes you as an artist, as an individual, and what could separate you in your work and how you portray yourself is important. And I think that finding your own identity and your placement in this, there's enough to go around for everyone. So I think owning who you are and what delivers yourself in this industry and how you portray yourself out there is the most important thing for these upcoming artists, or even still people in this industry. That it's important that, you know that everyone needs to put food on their table. And so if we continue to support each other in this industry and collaborate with each other more, that we all win.
Yeah, I like how you were talking about getting your own identity and stuff like that. So it's like, do what makes you unique. Don't necessarily try to do what somebody else is doing.
Find what makes you who you are, and why you're so passionate about it, and how you can make a difference in what you do and how you deliver your work. So identify yourself that way, so that there's always a reason why someone's going to come to you. Because if you're going to be the next person and the next person, then you're always going to be having to deal with the next person versus being yourself and being the best you. That you're going to have that group of people that are going to be attracted to you, and that you're going to have that crowd that's going to work your way, because they're not looking at you because of other people. They're looking at you for who you are. Yeah.
So as an artist, and this kind of translates with other art venues, I guess, are you your own worst critic? Does that kind of translate into hair and makeup also?
Yes. I truly believe sometimes we are our worst critics. We scroll through social media, we see things, and we're like, gosh, why did I do that? Or how can I be better? Or what's going to be different the next time around? And I think that when you are your worst critic, sometimes you can really let yourself down. But if you're your worst critic, you know how to pick yourself back up, I feel, because you know yourself the best. So if you know that you're heading down the road that's not going to work for you, you know what you have to do to pick yourself back up again.
So again, follow your gut when you're in those situations.
Yes, definitely.
Nobody gets to the position that you've attained without that walk through fire, trials, tribulations, going through hard times in life, And you were telling me off camera that you had like a bunch of these, several of these, that if they didn't happen, you would have otherwise still been doing that job instead of where you are today.
Yeah, everyone thinks that your celebrating moments are your biggest moments that get you to where you're at and defines your success. But I think that it's easily defined through the trials and tribulations that you go through in life, and how it's evolved or has defined who you are. I've gone through it all. I'd have to say, I know I'm probably still going to go through more. They say the more you're out there, the more you have to deal with the negativity. And that's why for me, I try to just stay below the radar and just kind of just stick to myself in a sense. And the circle of who I, find myself around are always the people that I know that we're going to uplift each other, and we're going to help bring out the best in who we are, because there's always going to be that evilness of the people that don't want to see you grow, don't want to see you accomplish your goals. And they're the ones that really don't even know who you are. And I found myself in that position a lot of the times, is that things would get back to me and I'm like, well, I don't even know who that person is. If that person only got the chance to know who I was and we got to work together, they would see that anything that they may possibly think is not really who I am, or how they perceived me to be versus how they know me to be. And I think that we fail at life in sometimes where we judge a book by its cover, and we don't necessarily know who these people are or what they're about, and we don't really find ourselves to get to know them, but we put a label or define them based on what we think we know. And so I think I've often been in that position where people think they know, or what they may overhear from someone, versus really getting to know me and being a part of it, because I'm a very outgoing person. I'm passionate and I want the best for everyone, and sometimes wanting the best for everybody can be a big downfall, because you don't get the best for yourself sometimes. And so this industry has taught me a lot. It's still teaching me so much, and I just tell everyone in this industry that I work with and myself that be the best you in who you are, so that people, at the end of the day, no matter what anyone says, no matter what anyone may see, that you're just being your best self and the best to what you do. So it's been a struggle, and I'm grateful for that struggle, because it's allowed me to grow and be better at what I'm doing. Because every time something became a trial, and I got over it, I knew that it was going to make me a better person.
It's like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Exactly.
Like that's huge, and people need to realize that.
Yes.
They do go through, hard times in life. If COVID has taught us anything, it's that, dude, there are big roadblocks in your life that you're gonna have to get over.
I think many people just want to see that overnight accomplishment. They have to realize that it takes time. Everything happens for a reason, and if you allow yourself that moment and soak in that time that it's taking for you to get there, that you can only be more powerful in the end because you went through those moments. You weren't bought to your moment. You weren't cheated in your moment. You worked towards those goals, and you went through those moments that are now going to make you a better person.
So you're talking about like building a grand foundation.
Yes. And solidifying that so that you have that to fall back on in the end.
Off camera, we were talking about spirit animals. Very interesting answer from Dustin here.
Yeah, I would say I'm a hawk because
and I was like, no, you can't be a hawk. That's my spirit animal. We
right. We'll be spirit brothers now. Spirit animal brothers.
Spirit brothers.
Yes. Yeah. So I say a hawk because I feel like hawks are so observant, yet they're just seen at a distance, and they fly high and they kind of look over everything, and when they make their landing, they're observing as they're moving, they're observing as they're sitting, and they wait in to see what they're going to take into and where they're going to put themselves. And when they go in for it, they go in for it. So I feel like me as a hawk, that's what I am. When I see where I fit in, see what's going to work best for me, go in with it. And when I go in with it, I give it my all. And sometimes the hawk doesn't come out the winner because they put themselves in a crazy position thinking that they can outweigh their prey, and they end up getting taken down. And that may happen for me, but no matter what, we still try to stand back up and get off in flight and go on to something new. So that's how I see myself.
Yeah, I'm similar with that with the hawk. I like the heights. I was never afraid of heights. So I could always liked looking at things from like an above point of view and also from an outside point of view, like just outside looking in and then making an informed decision kind of thing. So yeah, I like hawks. I think it's kind of a good practice for people in modern day to like, hey, like search out who your spirit animal or animals are. A lot of people are like posting on Facebook like, I'm a sloth. It's like,
no, I'm not a sloth.
Yeah. If you're gonna be a sloth, you go work at the DMV. Like
that's hilarious.
Like that character Flash.
What is that show from?
Oh, was that cartoon movie?
Oh gosh, I forget.
With all the animals.
Yeah.
And of course, people watching this like, it's this movie. It's like, I know, but I know the meme with the sloth. Like that's where it goes. I know the joke.
I'm not a movie. I don't know. I can't sit down. I think I'm too busy to like sit too long to watch things. So I either watch the beginning of something, the middle of something, or the end of something. Or unless I'm stuck on a flight and I'm watching the in-flight movies and I'm like, okay, I have nothing better to do for 5 to 6 hours. I'm going to watch 2 movies. But other than that, at home, I'm not really one to settle in. I try the Netflix thing, 20 minutes in, I'm like, oh, what's next? If it's not grabbing my attention, I'm not,
Were you always like that?
What I would watch mainly was talk shows, but I never, I would go in a movie theater, I would get easily distracted, and I'm like, oh, this is getting boring, but talk shows I would be into. I would sit there and watch. Oprah was one of my favorite things to watch, and I think a lot of who I am today is defined through the things that she put out in her show, and I followed a lot of her ways and how her advice that she's given on her shows.
How about Dr. Phil? He was
Dr.
on the show, right?
But he was never one that I really cared to watch. It was always Oprah, and I remember when she ended her show, I wrote to her and told her like how much I appreciated who she was and what she did for us people, because I would sit there after school and I knew I had to hurry up and do my homework so that I could watch her, because she would be on at 4:00, and if I didn't finish my homework, I couldn't watch TV. So I would hurry up and rush and do my homework, and she was like, I would say, like, I wrote it in that letter. I remember I found it, and I was like, she was my second mom, because there's the other female that I admired, and I looked up to, and I was waiting to hear what she would have to share or what she would have to say. And I remember those moments. And when she came to Maui and she actually did something there, I was like, oh my gosh, we need to get there. Even though I can't physically like grab her, say hi to her, shake her hand, just to be in her presence was something that was, you know, super awesome. And to hear her like and sit there and be like, wow, I actually heard this lady, you know. Yeah.
Are we missing that kind of personality in modern day? Because I'm trying to think of like talk shows, and you know, who is today's Oprah?
I honestly can't answer that.
It ain't Ellen. Sorry.
Yeah. I honestly can't answer that. You know, I think Oprah hit a lot of aha moments for people. Yeah. She really did. And I think that who she was and how she delivered her messages and the people that she brought into her show, you know, it was weird. It was like every moment in your life that you went through something, it was like her answer was there, you know, or she had that presented in your face and you're like, wow, I literally just went through that. And oh my gosh, she's talking about that. So I think that that's why I found her so admirable, because I felt like anything I was dealing with or things that I needed to get through in life, I turned on the TV at 4 and here it was, Oprah was speaking to me, you know?
Yeah. I mean, because like modern day kids, they're not doing that. They're just going on TikTok.
TikTok, yeah. And I'm not a TikTok. I don't even know how to TikTok. What's TikTok? Well, I mean, I see it, but I mean, I was just telling someone the other day, I was like, is that even dancing what they're doing, or what is that? Because, you know, these moves are just so different nowadays. Yeah.
I don't know. People are saying that like TikTok is like the next iteration of like Instagram, Facebook, and stuff like that, all kind of combined. Big social media platform. So
right.
I don't know.
It's crazy that TikTok thing just blew up overnight, and all these things that people are doing. I mean, I have to say, I do watch the TikTok for the funny moments, because some people are really hilarious and they really have good content, and some people I'm just like, what is that? Yeah.
That is the interesting thing about like social media these days, especially with everybody with cell phones and stuff like that, is that there are amazingly creative people all over the world that are posting like legitimately like either good artistry type stuff or good like hilarious and funny comedy type stuff, and really well thought out stuff.
Yeah. So, you have to be on your A game for that social media stuff. I'm still trying to adjust and get used to even working my own social media.
Yeah. Well, you have a huge following on Instagram.
No, that's not. I like the people that I do have that follow me are the genuine people that actually know me. You know, I always tell myself, like, it doesn't matter the numbers of the people that follow you. You know, I you know, many people when they first started off, they're like, oh my gosh, how do I get all, you know, 10,000 followers and everything? But you know, when I look back at it, these people that follow me genuinely care. I know who they are. You know, they patronize my business, or they believe in my work. You know, they support what I do, and I'm grateful for that, because those are the people that I want to, that I feel that I want a part of my life, and my life is somewhat on social media. And so the people that are going to know who I am and that matter most are the people that are going to follow me.
Right. So you're going for the quality over quantity.
Yes.
Not like the old Soviet saying, quantity has a quality all its own.
Yeah,
No.
Yes.
We're not talking about tanks and guns and stuff.
Yeah, but I definitely quality over quantity. Yes.
So your advice for anybody starting up on the social media thing and trying to get those kinds of numbers and more followers and more views and stuff like that would just be to what? Get the quality people?
Get quality people. It doesn't matter the numbers. I mean, I definitely don't have the large numbers for that, but I have the quality people, and I feel that those are the people that are going to be the most important, because they're the ones that are going to go and make those recommendations to other people that are going to come and sit in your chair, that are going to come and find out who you are, and is going to allow you to expand your horizons in this industry. Because it's sad, before it was a lot of word of mouth, physical contact, where now you don't even have to know somebody or even do their work on them. They're already going to like you because of the followings that you have on social media. And to me, I feel that it's, for some people that's right, but I think for the most part that, you know, get to know someone and really see who they are and see if that even is a right fit for you and why you're following them, you know?
Yeah, because you were talking about getting to know you on social media and in your pages and stuff like that. How you're posting not just pictures of your work, putting makeup and doing the hair of people, but you're also posting like inspirational quotes and stuff like that you find.
Yeah, it's more impactful when people come there for that, and it's relatable. It's like me watching Oprah. She would say things, and I'm like, oh, and these people will read that and be like, wow, that's me, or I'm going through the same thing, or that they find that connection in what you're posting. So,
but they're not like separate. Like your work isn't separate from those quotes. They are one and the same.
One and the same, because I feel that it's who I am. It's my work in general. My work is not only to make people look good, but it's also to make people feel good. And so I feel it goes hand in hand with each other.
At the end of the day, and this will be the last question before we wrap up, what is the lasting mark that you want to leave on this planet?
That no matter, like for me, like my footprint I want to leave is that, there is good, genuine people out there. And so I want people to know that when I walk away from this all, that I was a genuine person that really wants the best for everyone, and that wants people to excel and succeed in what they do. And that even if you don't have that believer, to just know that you can do everything possible, and that if I walk away from it all, that people remember me in a good light and know that I did my work and I did my best, and that I'm one person that I think they can call a good friend and a reliable one too.
Dustin, thank you so much for coming on Hawaii Real.
Thanks for having me. I mean, I hope I made sense or everything, but
it was good sense, and I think people are gonna get some inspiration out of your words here.
Yes, thank you.
It's good stuff.
Yes,
thank you. All right, Hawaii. Thank you for joining us, and as always, stay happy.